There's no such thing as God. It's too many traumatic things going on in life for there to be a God. Jesus Christ, I mean, he was man-made. I'm not sure that Buddhism is something that I wouldn't follow, because they just do good. They've tried to change me. I ain't going to change an 80-year-old man.
Right.
Not now. I've got no problems at all of going to sleep one night and never waking up again.
Well,
my belief's stronger than Jesus, and
Sure.
I know
Sure.
there's nothing afterwards.
Hi everyone, an interesting conversation with an older man, and yet a very energetic older guy, an atheist. Quite got animated, I think, when I spoke about religion and faith, and yet he was happy to speak with me. Ultimately, it was a very respectful conversation, but he had very strong opinions about faith and religion. I think largely born out of what he perceived were to be the wrongs that the church has done over the ages, and the religious figures and the hypocrisy that has happened throughout the ages. He associated all of that with the church. But even when I did speak about just Jesus as a person, maybe he softened a little bit, but even then he still thought about him as someone who was just maybe a human being, but all of the other things about him were made up, and he couldn't understand how anyone would believe otherwise. But anyway, I did have a chance to explain to him my beliefs, the gospel. What is it that we believe ultimately as Christians? What is the root core of the Christian message? And who knows, maybe that stays with him someday. I mean, he's 80 years old, and so I don't know how many years he has to live, but maybe this conversation will stay with him. So maybe he will cry out at some point, Jesus save me. And I'm sure Jesus will answer that call if he comes to him in faith and repent. Doesn't matter what his rest of his life was like, just like the thief on the cross. I hope he remembers the name Jesus, this old man, and calls upon him in that day. Anyway, then let me know what you thought. Hope to see you in the next video. God bless. Do you have any faith, any belief, any religion or philosophy of life?
I have none at all.
None at all. Okay.
No faith, no religion, no philosophy.
And has that ever changed for you? Like as in your life, was there a time that you did have something and then lost it, or there was just never anything there?
Well, people of my age are always brought up on religion, and that's when I decided that there was no such thing as God. In my belief, I don't believe there's a God. It's too many traumatic things going on in life for there to be a God. And as regards other religions, I'm amazed at how people can actually kill themselves in the name of religion. It's crazy. I just find it all crazy.
I do as well. Some of the things that happen in the name of religion, absolutely. But walk me through a little bit more. Like you said, is it because of the what I would call the suffering, the problems, that you say that there is no God? Because what if there was God, he would not allow this to happen?
Well,
just trying
absolutely.
to.
I mean, it's ridiculous. I mean, we look at good and evil, and as far as I'm concerned, if it's true that he's there, then why is he not using the good side of him to stop these awful things? I see little kids walk past there in their wheelchairs, or willing themselves in their wheelchairs. What's them children ever done to deserve that kind of ailment in life? It's just not. That doesn't make sense to me. Never has made sense.
So would it be more fair then to say that it's not necessarily that you would say that's the reason why there isn't God? It's just that because of the way you understand God to be, he would have reacted to something like this.
Of course.
Right.
We're taught this in church. We're taught this in Sunday school as a kid. At school, we used to do it. Everything. We're taught all this, and I just kept thinking, you're talking rubbish. there's people down the road just been killed or stabbed or something, and they're just talking rubbish, you know. Don't talk to me about religion, it's ridiculous.
Now, how about this, right? So, how do you see the personal freedom versus something like this, right? Because here's a scenario, right? My freedom, right, and what I decide to do may actually cause a harm to someone else, right? Now, am I allowed to have that freedom to do good or bad? Versus, if I decide now suddenly to do something evil or bad to someone, should therefore God intervene and stop me in that, and therefore prevent me from having such a freedom to do bad as well as good?
No, you shouldn't have the freedom to do bad. Do good as much as you like, but to do bad, what you call bad, and what I'm perceiving as bad, no, you shouldn't have the freedom. You shouldn't have it at all.
Okay, so I speak of myself now personally, right? I know that I've done bad things, right? I've lied, right? That's pretty bad.
You name someone that hasn't lied.
Exactly.
Name me a chaplain that hasn't lied.
Yeah, absolutely.
Name me a doctor that hasn't lied.
Yeah.
You just can't. That's part of life. In fact, lies sometimes are good.
Right.
Sometimes they're good.
Sometimes they're good.
I could quite easily tell some people where to get off, but I don't. I lie.
Yeah.
And say they're doing okay.
Yeah, and I've done some let's say good lies, but I've also done bad lies where I've just tried to protect myself from looking like a fool or from being found out, for example. That's oftentimes happened as well, right?
Well, I'm sure we've all done that.
Yeah, I've stolen things that don't belong to me. It doesn't matter what the value is. Maybe it was a small things, but I know that it wasn't mine to have, and I took it anyway, right?
Yeah, but that's got nothing to do with religion.
Does it not?
No.
Because I'm talking about the 10 Commandments, right? The 10 Commandments.
No, I don't believe in them.
But isn't that a moral thing? It's a moral compass, right?
It's a man-made. It's a man-made document. It's not done by, if you want to call it. There's a God. It wasn't made by him. It wasn't Jesus Christ. I mean, he was man-made. It's ridiculous. How can anyone can believe that 2,000 years ago someone called themselves the Son of God? Anyone believed it, and you can see why they believed it. There was no TV, no radio, nothing like that. And, you know, he's supposed to have created miracles and so forth. He might have been a little bit of a magician, mightn't he? You know what I mean? It's just ridiculous. I mean, how can anyone believe in God? There can't be a God.
You know what they didn't believe in? That's the thing. They had doubts about him.
No, they believed. They believed in the prophet. They believed Muslims believed in what they believed in. And things like that. There's always a conflict of interest here. I mean, look at the Roman Church, the Roman Catholics. They're the richest organisation in the world. Richest organisation in the world. And they don't do enough for good.
I completely agree with that.
They should just literally sell all their profit and everything and help the people out that are really suffering, like the little kids in Africa and the little kids in India. And a lot of people in England.
Yeah.
A lot of people in England need help.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I don't disagree with that at all. But I guess going back to this idea of, like, do you think that man existed then? Jesus, did he exist? Did he?
Yes, he did.
He did. Okay.
He did. I believe that.
But you don't think that he did all the things that are attributed to him, all the miracles?
I don't believe there were miracles.
No.
And I believe it's like. There's people today, especially in America, which believe they're doing good, and they're preaching. But they're no son of God. There's no God. They're just doing it. They're just exploiting the situation. They're making money out of it. In fact, Jesus never made money out of what he done, but according to the Bible. But that's a document that's been written by man.
It was written by men who spent time around the man, right? So they were writing what they saw with their own eyes, right? Because they were writing. He did this, he did that. Yeah.
You know what? I read stuff every day.
Yeah.
I read stuff every day that was written by man.
Yeah.
And then tomorrow, I find out it's a lie.
That's true. That's true. But when it's written by multiple people, right? When it's
It
written
was
by
written by multiple people, usually journalists and people like that. The
yeah.
rumours start, and it's rubbish. There's no religion that appeals to me. I say no religion appeals to me. I'm not sure that Buddhism is something that I wouldn't follow,
Why is that?
because they just do good.
Are you sure that they're good? You know that they have pretty big problems amongst themselves as well. It's not
Do
like
they?
they're foreign to wars and they're foreign to abuse. They have a lot of scandals
the
themselves as well.
The Buddhists I know are people that just do nothing but harm to themselves. In other words, they rely on charity. They don't go out stealing people's food and that. They rely. They don't even go out and buy clothes. They rely on charity to do that. So people to support them. So no, I'm not. I won't pretend that they're bad people. They're good people.
And I'm not saying anything bad about Buddhists by themselves. I'm just saying that they're as people, they're probably not worse or better than anyone else out there. They're just people.
You're probably correct there,
Yeah,
because I don't see what good it does.
Yeah.
Like walking around in robes and ringing bells and whatever. No,
Yeah,
I don't believe.
And maybe one of them, maybe the final questions. So how would you then describe like your understanding what Christianity is about, right? So we all know about the abuses. I'm not disputing that. I already know your opinion of whether there's God and what Jesus did or did not do. But if we were to sort of talk about the reason and the message of Christianity, what do you think it is?
But it all depends what level you're talking about.
What's your
the level you're talking about. What I'm talking about is what I said about the Roman Church. Roman Catholic Church. It's the higher echelons of the church that it's very suspect. Very suspect. I know people who work in the church, and they're nice people. They're nice people. I'm not denying that. But they get this house. They go to work once a week, preaching to people in a church, which are getting more and more empty by the minute. And all I can see is they're making a living. Mm-hmm. They're making a living. They're doing what everyone else does. They try to make a living. There's no.
But maybe that's what it's become. That's what it's become. But that's not what its reason for existence is, right? That's not what its reason for existence is, right? What is the reason for Christianity? Like, what is its message?
I have no
its
idea.
Okay.
Because I literally disown it completely.
Okay. Because of the experiences that you had. Because of the experiences.
So the experience I have, yeah.
Right.
I mean, I've got people close to me that really do believe.
Right.
And they know that I disbelieve.
Yeah.
And they know that they tried to change me. You ain't going to change an 80-year-old man.
Right.
Not now.
Right.
So it's something. It's something that it just annoys me, really. I can't stand it. Do you know what? I won't go to a funeral anymore because the religious thing about funerals turns into a kind of preaching. Turns into a kind of preaching. Oh, well, they talk respectfully about the dead, but the person that's dead, who's died, they'll give you a little bit of love. But then they have to put in all the rest of this rubbish. Well, that we should do this, we should. It's ridiculous.
What do you think happens after we die then?
Nothing.
Nothing.
What, do you really want to know? Really want to know what happens? It's the same as this tree behind us. When it dies, it rots into the ground, and that's exactly what we do. The difference is we speed it up.
Right.
We go for cremation or something like that.
Right.
But that's all that happens. There's no fear in dying. There's no fear in dying. There's fear in the way you die. But there's no fear in dying. I've got no problems at all of going to sleep one night and never waking up again.
Yeah.
I've got no problems with it.
I believe there is something that happens after we die. We will appear before someone, a judge.
Well,
yeah. You don't think so? You don't think there will be a judge?
No.
Because that to me, that's the scary part. That's the scary part.
No,
if there is life after death, Because this is the easy
there's
one.
no life after
What you're describing, right? It's easy, right? You just fall asleep and that's it. That's the easy part. That's not
the
scary.
easy part, yeah.
The scary part is that if there's someone on the other side,
Which there isn't.
well, that's your opinion. That's your opinion.
I
right?
can promise
That's your
you,
opinion.
in 2,000 years since Christ,
Yeah.
no one's ever come back to say, I see someone on the other side.
Yeah. Well, people have had near-death experiences and things like that. But
Yeah,
I know what
yeah,
you mean, right? But
yeah,
I know what you mean.
yeah.
But no one's saying that there was someone who has come after. No one's even claiming that. No one's even claiming that. But people have said that. Well, Jesus spoke about life after death. He spoke about very much about what happens after we die, and in fact, that's what he came. He came so
That's
that
what he believed in as a person. That's what he believed
he
in.
believed in as a
And
person.
he spread that doctrine throughout the world.
He did.
And he done well because there was
Yeah.
no TV, there was no radio.
Absolutely.
There was nobody going writing books and stuff like that. But he managed to indoctrinate the whole world by what he believed in.
Yeah,
And his belief was his belief. There's nothing afterwards.
well,
My belief's stronger than Jesus, and
Sure.
I know
sure.
there's nothing afterwards. I know.
Well, I respect that belief, and
There's nothing to be frightened about.
well, that's
In
again,
fact, I
that's-
think
yeah.
you saying what you said about there's life after death,
Mm.
I think that does worry some people. And mentally, that's caused a lot of problems.
Mm.
Whereas I think my outlook is, no, it's nothing, so I'm not bothered. But can you imagine someone that was really, I can remember as a child, not liking the dark, you know. But then I got over that fear, and I think that's what happens to people. They have a fear about what's happening on the other side of life.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, it does send some people a little bit
Yeah.
doolally.
It does. I mean, for me, let's put aside the stuff that I've studied, right? But I think just as a human being, right? I don't know if you had these moments in life, but you go through life, right? And I'm sure you have. You're much older than me, but you see the wonder of this creation. You see the sky.
It's beautiful,
right? It's beautiful, right? And you see
Absolutely.
the sunset. You see the music, and you have to wonder. We cannot just be atoms. We are not just flesh and blood. We are something more than that. We're not just made like animals. We have a soul. We have a spirit.
That's
right?
your belief.
I know, but I feel that very much
Do you?
within the fiber in my being, right? And I don't know how other people don't, especially when you're faced with eternity of the night sky.
Mm.
And if you know anything about science, if you know anything about biology, if you know anything about the wonders of life, the more we study these things, the more we're just dumbfounded. How did this all come about? If not for the Creator, right? If not for the Creator.
No.
No, very much so, sir. And I'm studying these things, right?
The science tells you that even this will die one day.
Which will die? Sorry.
The world, the planet, everything. It will all die one day.
If nothing happens to it, of course it will.
Scientists have said
But
6 billion years is probably the outlook.
Yeah.
By that time, hopefully, we've got a few rockets and we're going to places like Mars and places like
That's
that.
right, and that place will die as well, right? But it's interesting thing that science says it began. This world began with a big bang.
It began with chemistry. It's chemistry.
No, it began. This is the thing. Do you understand? When something begins, that means that something has had to start it all, right? Who began it? Who began it? Who was behind the beginning? That's what when scientists realized that this universe is expanding, and there was an expansion from a point in time. This was such a groundbreaking finding that a lot of the scientists became believers from that point, even the atheists, because up to that point they believe in this. This always existed and always will exist. That's sort of the atheistic view, right? Because there is no beginning, there is no end. But as soon as there's a beginning, the equation changes, right? That we have to understand, okay, so Bible speaks of the beginning. God spoke this world into existence.
No,
and
you can't believe the Bible. It was written by man.
But that aside, it speaks of a beginning. It speaks of a beginning,
Well,
right?
so do you. So the scientists, so do everyone else. We all know that. But, the Big Bang, the theory, Big Bang, all this belief. I mean, was Stephen Hawking a believer?
What about him? Sorry, was he a
Stephen
believer? No,
Hawking?
he was not. No.
There you go.
No.
Greatest mind ever.
Yeah, Isaac Newton was a believer, for example. Very much so.
He was?
Yeah.
No, good for him.
Yeah, I'm not
But
saying
he
that
was 200 years ago.
So
He was 200 years ago.
He was, but he gave us mathematics. He gave us
but
laws
still
of
200
gravity.
years ago when religion was very strong. Go to America
really.
today, there's more religion in America than there is in England.
And there's a lot of them who are scientists, right? The chemist scientists,
Yeah.
and they're still very faithful, even with all the knowledge that they have. Right?
But we started off what I do believe, and I believe that there's nothing.
Sure. No, I
There's
understand.
nothing.
I understand.
I suggest to you that you enjoy your life now.
Yeah, and
Do
I am.
good, don't be bad.
Yeah.
Do good. You haven't got to be bad to enjoy it. Enjoy your life now, because that's all there is. There's nothing afterwards.
Yeah, and
Don't let religion frighten you.
And it's not about fear. I enjoy my life because I know what I'm made for. Now imagine, right? If I didn't know that, like, what is the point of life?
Well,
Like
no,
you said,
you convinced yourself. There's no point other than being kind and nice to your neighbours.
Why?
And peace.
Why is that the point? Why is that
Because
the point?
why would you want to fight all the time? Why would you want to argue all the time?
To win more things, to get more possessions, to get more.
Why would you?
But isn't that what you sort of? Isn't that what other purpose would there be? What is the purpose in kindness? What is the purpose in that?
It's just
I don't get anything from kindness.
That spreads better than religion.
Why?
Kindness spreads more than religion.
Why is that a good thing, though?
Because when I see someone in the street who I believe is destitute, I'm quite happy to donate or help them.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And to me, that makes me happy.
Yeah.
And then when I'm happy, I feel good.
Yeah. So this is the thing. You spoke as though you are a believer, not as a non-believer.
No. That's what you believe because you've been taught that. I don't believe.
No. What I'm saying is that someone who truly believes that there is no God and there is no reason for the kindness, we all just atoms.
No, I didn't say that. There is a reason for the kindness. The kindness brings you together. The kindness draws you together.
But what is the point of bringing together? What is the point of that?
That is your family, your people, your love for your
Yeah,
children.
but what if I just don't happen to have any family, any people? And what is the point of life then?
Well, then you do what my friend done.
What is that?
He committed suicide.
Right, and isn't that sad?
That's very sad because he listened to all the idiots around him that said there was a life after death and that, and he thought, well, he could go there.
Okay, but that's a wrong conclusion then in that case, right?
Of course, but this is what I said to you, it can lead to mental health.
Yeah. What I'm saying is that as a believer,
there's a lot of
I have very much of a joy in this life, much more so than before I was a believer.
That's fine. That's fine.
Right.
I really enjoy it. I've got a sense of humour as well, and I love it. But my favourite saying is that all these churches can make wonderful plots for council houses. Give people that's got no council, got no houses, destitute, homeless people. Give them a purpose in life.
Yeah.
You know, get rid of the churches, build council houses.
Yeah, and I'm all for that. I'm not saying deny that. I'm not for that. I'm not
You
not
can follow
against
God
that.
wherever you go.
Absolutely, and I firmly believe that.
Yeah.
Right. So I'm not inviting people into church. I never do that. I invite people to know the relationship with the Almighty. That's where it starts, right?
Yeah.
And you know who built houses? And you know who built universities and hospitals? Christians did. You know why? Because they were driven by the
They were
love.
called Christians because they named themselves as Christians, but truly Christian is not.
They were driven by the love from God towards their neighbor, not just towards their neighbor, but towards their enemy as well. That was the teaching, and that's why they ended up building hospitals before the Middle Ages, where the need for hospitals arose, and before the Crusades and other things, which gave a rise to that kind of ideas and universities. There was no such thing as hospitals and universities, right? It was a very much of a Christian-driven idea, right? And so we live today benefiting. We live in the air and the surroundings that the Christians have built out of the very beliefs that they had, right? So that's not a bad thing.
I can't deny that.
Right.
I can't deny that. They did do a lot of good sometimes, but a lot of the time they done bad.
Of course.
A lot of the time they done bad.
Yeah.
They, especially with the poor people, they exploited the poor, big time. I mean, funny you should say this, but my father, I'm going back a long time, he said, wherever there's poverty, there's a church.
Okay.
Now you can say it two ways, can't you? You can say the church was there to help the poverty, or it could be there's poverty because of the church who was taking money every day, or every Sunday, or whatever it is.
Yeah.
And that's the true saying.
And Jesus was the one who was the biggest one against
Well, he was
the money
2,000
changers.
years ago.
right?
He didn't know anything.
Well, he knew. He
He knew what he believed.
Well, he overturned. What I was trying to say is
Did
that.
you know the Muslims believed in Jesus?
Yeah, but not in. I just actually spoke to a Muslim, and he said to me that he believes in Jesus. I asked him, "What kind of Jesus do you believe in?" And he told me that he believes in Jesus. That wasn't the Son of God. That was just a prophet. That
He was a
wasn't
prophet.
That wasn't crucified and did not rise, which is against all of the beliefs of Christianity. So we believe in different Jesuses. He believes in someone else than I believe in.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I understand very well what Muslims believe, but it's not the same thing. But what I was going to say is that Jesus was likewise against the authorities, against the religious authorities, right? He's the one who overturned the tables of the money changers in the temple. He's the one who was against the established religious elite. He was the one who had the harshest words for those who are trying to oppress the poor and the destitute. And he is the one who showed us the way, right? The fact that we're not doing that today is a travesty. I completely agree with this. But I'm not here to invite people to church and to an institution and to follow some sort of a building or some sort of guy with a big hat on. No, I'm saying, have you considered Jesus? Have you considered him who told us what life is all about 2,000 years ago, who proved it with his death and resurrection? He's the one that is the source of the truth and the life. And I follow him, and I'm not going to go wrong in doing so. I
appreciate that. I appreciate that.
Yeah.
But I'm sorry, I can't believe.
That's fair. That's fair.
You know,
I appreciate it.
I've enjoyed your chat.
Yeah. Thank you so much. I really enjoyed it as well. It was
Thank you.
very honest and yet very nice and respectful. So I
Okay.
appreciate that
Okay.
very much. Yeah.
Good.
Awesome.